Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Calhoun-Lorraine Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. We do this every Monday morning, and it is live, so you're invited to call in and ask questions regarding our topic of the morning or anything regarding your health, because the whole show is centered around trying to help you live a healthier lifestyle. Our phone numbers are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. So again, you're welcome to call in and ask any questions about our topic of the day or anything regarding your health. And this morning's topic is we're talking about kidneys and how important they are and how to keep them healthy and all that. So just how important are our kidneys to us, and what role do they play?
Well, they're pretty important. As a matter of fact, they're extremely important. Let's go that far.
They're essential.
They're essential. Yeah, let's put it that way. Essential.
Well, you hear of people getting kidney transplants.
Well,
yes, yeah. Right. And that's why they get transplants, because it's an essential organ.
Yeah.
And you can't live without kidney function.
Right. You have to have kidney function. And if your kidneys aren't functioning properly, you probably know somebody who's either is now or have been on dialysis or something. And a lot of times, if they're getting ready for that transplant, they're on dialysis. So they're very essential, there's no doubt about it. And one of the big things is getting rid of a lot of toxic material. I mean, the kidneys, a lot of things we talked about detoxification, and a lot of things that the liver does is make things water soluble so they can go out through the kidneys. And the kidneys, of course, oblige and get rid of the toxic material that way. Plus they also help maintain your electrolyte balance. That's real important. And we get into a lot of trouble with that here in the South in the summertime with the sweating, and we lose a lot of electrolytes. So, it's a real issue there. And so they're extremely important to health.
That's why we always talk about, especially during the summertime, drink a lot of water.
That's one of the things that you want to do to actually, because we're going to talk big about prevention. Like, how can you prevent from having kidney problems? I mean, what keeps those kidneys healthy? And one of the big things is water. I mean, when you start talking about dehydration and things that dehydration can cause, for one, like he just mentioned, electrolytes, messes up the electrolytes. Electrolytes are essential. I mean, you die without a good electrolyte balance. That's another thing that can really get you is electrolytes. Everybody's heard of kidney stones, and if you get dehydrated, you're more likely to get a kidney stone. If you're dehydrated, it just makes your kidney function worse. There's so many things that actually affects with dehydration, even when it comes to urinary tract infections. If you drink water and flush out, that's good, because more dehydrated you are, and the more that urine just sits there in the bladder and the kidneys, the more likely you are to have a UTI. So water is, I would probably say, one of the more important things for kidney prevention.
And when we talk about water, not other liquids, things like coffee and tea and sodas and so on. A lot of people think, I drink plenty of fluid.
Well, what about the drinks that have electrolytes in them? Like you have to use a Gatorade.
Well, depends on which one. There's a lot of sugar in that.
Right.
And that's problem is when you start talking about kidneys, another thing that is very damaging to kidneys is sugar.
Sugar's damaging to everything.
It really is.
Talk about that all the time.
But when you really look at one of the biggest conditions that actually make your kidneys bad, it's diabetes. And if you're drinking drinks with sugar in it all the time, you are more likely to actually be diabetic or pre-diabetic, which both can actually damage the kidneys. And so that's one of the very, very damaging problems is diabetes. So controlling your sugar is one way to actually keep your kidneys healthy. And people don't think about that. And like we say always, it's better to do things now to keep your kidneys healthy than to wait until they're failing.
That's, maintaining proper kidney function, essentially, is so much easier than trying to restore it. Because, depending on how much damage is done to the kidneys, you may not be able to get it back.
Now, are kidney problems, are they hereditary?
They can, some of them are. Now, there's no doubt there's things that, especially polycystic kidney disease, definitely is hereditary. And that is one of the big things probably that is not as controllable because, of course, it's your genetics. And then there's some congenital things you may be born with that can affect the kidneys. But there's no doubt, and then diabetes runs in the family. Hypertension runs in the family. Hypertension is the Second condition that is the biggest damaging thing to the kidneys is uncontrolled high blood pressure. So
that's probably one of the two big things that we see come in our door every day, really, is either going to be the diabetes or even pre-diabetes. I mean, what you got to understand is you don't have to just be diabetic to be causing damage to the kidneys. So the pre-diabetes or diabetes, then also the blood pressure. And we see so many people that are just totally uncontrolled in blood pressure, not able to control it. And there's a lot of factors there. You know, you talked about genetics. Well, it's predisposition. The genetics, our genes we can't change. The only thing we can change is what we call the epigenetics, which is the outside influences that have influence on our genes. And a lot of things that we do dietarily, lifestyle, etc., have a big epigenetic influence on kidney function and our sugar control. And they link straight together.
Yeah.
I mean,
the bad thing about when the kidneys are bad, it makes your blood pressure harder to control.
Right.
But when the blood pressure's high, it damages the kidney. So then it gets to be like a never-ending circle. And so you get the people that already have hypertension that's uncontrolled, and then it damages the kidneys, and it makes it more hard to control. Right. So it's a never-ending circle. So the thing is, like we're saying, prevention. Watch your blood pressure. It's easy to check. That you don't even have to go. You can get a monitor for home.
Do the machines in like your
big box,
big box stores, are they pretty accurate?
Most are pretty good.
And if you use the same machine,
yeah, right.
If the key to it, I think, if you're going to go to the one big box store closest to you or whatever, and use that same machine over and over and over again. Don't go to one and go to one across town or something like that. Go to that same machine, and you're at least going to see a trend. Whether it's high or low, you're going to see a trend.
Or you'll get you one of the little ones you have at home. But if you buy the home ones, don't get the ones for the wrist. Those don't seem to be as accurate when I check them. Yeah. Get the ones that go up here, and ask the pharmacist or whoever is which ones do they get the best feedback from people.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I learned from them is that when you check your blood pressure, before you put your arm in that cup, sit still for a little bit.
Relax just a minute.
Exactly.
Don't talk to your neighbor. Don't cross your legs.
Right.
And don't if somebody there with you, don't sit there talking to them. Mm-hmm. You need to be calm for about a minute.
Yep. So knowing if you have high blood pressure is one of the ways to help control it, because you first got to know if it's a problem. So that is something so easily checked, and you should start checking it actually when you're young, so you can see when there's a big difference and you have a big change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same thing with sugar too.
Same thing with sugar, exactly.
All right, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. We're talking about your kidneys this morning. If you have any questions regarding that or anything regarding your health, pick up the phone and give us a call. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. It's our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Our phone lines are open at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. And we got a question. I was wondering if you could give me any information on colchicine. Is it good for gout and cellulitis?
I mean, it's used for gout a lot, and I'd say the best thing to do, and we tell people this all the time, your pharmacist is your best friend. I mean, really. If you've got a question about a prescription medication, ask them. They've got handouts they can give you and all that. And colchicine is a very old drug that's been around for a long time. They can easily answer any questions you have about that.
Yep. Yeah. We do more natural medicine and things that are more natural. So if you need any information on any natural product, definitely let us know or give us a call, or because that's kind of what we do. You always want to go to the person that's their specialty, and the pharmacist, the drugs are their specialty.
That's their specialty.
That's what they do. So yeah.
Because every time you get, they always have a printout.
Well, yeah,
and
they'll give you that.
They provide you.
Yeah.
I mean, they, like you said, they have all the information that you need.
Right.
They'll give it to you because they want you to know about the.
Like I said, but we do. Like I said, and speaking of the natural products, we're going to talk about some of the things that you for the kidneys. Mm-hmm. Like I said, definitely water. I mean, that's actually not a supplement, but you got to have water. After that, there's actually something that we use a lot for kidney function called benfotamine. And benfotamine is an activated form of B1. Yeah. And there is so much research dating back, 15 years or longer, how it can actually help with diabetic kidney disease. We've even seen it help with kidneys when it's not linked with diabetes,
Right.
just old age kidney disease. And we definitely see that's one of the organs, you know, with us doing lab work, lots of it every day, because we do a lot of the panels that we talk about. As people age, that's one of the organs you start seeing get a little sluggish, is those kidneys. Is you just see them where you start having a little bit difference in those values, which is why one of the big important things to do with the kidneys is to have those values checked every year. And you need a urinalysis. We see so many women, especially, mostly women, every once in a while a man, but mostly women, that have urinary tract infections that have no idea. And they have no symptoms, no idea, but it's there. And so really, that's another thing that can really, I've seen multiple people over the years that had kidney failure due to an infection that if it would have been detected and treated early, would not have lost their kidney function and had to have a kidney transplant on dialysis. People don't think that can actually really happen, but we see it a lot.
More than
you would like, exactly. So another thing is making sure you detect any underlying urinary tract infections. A urinalysis, plain urinalysis, easy. I mean, we do just a urinalysis with a microscopic where somebody looks at it under a microscope for $10. So it's an easy thing to do. It's in all of our panels because we think it is important to be screened in the urine. Make sure you're not, if you start spilling protein or you start having blood in the urine, you start having things that starts making you look for other things, or then we can send you to other doctors to actually do further testing. So that's kind of what we do, is a lot of screenings. And if you see something on the screening, then you can do something about it. And that's kind of what prevention is. If you don't know, sometimes the first symptoms of the kidney problems are nothing. I mean, you don't know.
You don't notice
until it starts getting severe. Now, I mean, severe is totally different. You start having all kind of symptoms, but at first you might not have any.
Yeah. I think that's one of the keys, you know, when we, like she talks about panels and so on, we do this routinely. We check the kidney function through the blood work. Okay, that gives you your BUN and your creatinine. That gives you your kidney function and what they call a GFR, or glomerular filtration rate, or at least an estimated one. And so that gives you a good idea, like, are the kidneys actually functioning okay? Now, see what's coming out. That's the urinalysis. Like she said, that's when stuff's going to, because we've seen people with perfect BUN and creatinine and all kind of stuff in that urinalysis that really shouldn't be there.
Right, that you want to do something before it affects the kidney function.
Right, exactly.
And so that's kind of what you have to do is things like that. And then we have a product called Urine that's for detoxification of the kidneys. It has like your cordyceps. And yeah, so there's definitely things that you can do for kidneys, and definitely keeping them flushed out and keep down infections is a big one.
Right.
People that are prone to kidney infections or urinary tract infections, we recommend something called D-mannose. And the D-mannose definitely just helps flush out bacteria. And it doesn't hurt you long term. It's safe for pretty much anybody to do, and with any medication. So that's the good thing. If you're prone to them, you definitely want to do something for it.
Okay, we've got another question. Are bladder infections common in diabetes?
Way too common.
Yeah, actually, bladder infections are very common in women mostly. Again, men can have them, especially after menopause.
Yes.
So we definitely see that, where after menopause, we start seeing so many, and a lot of times your diabetics are after menopause as well, but not always. We're seeing a lot of really young diabetics, so that's not always the case. But we see a lot of bladder and kidney infections anyway. And again, because we have a urinalysis on every one of our panels. And when you do it, you kind of get an idea of what's going on. So, but they're very common anyway, I would say.
I was going to say, yeah, they're more common than you think. I mean, that's one of the biggies that we catch a lot of, is when the patient's got, you know, they may not have any symptoms whatsoever. I mean, like you said, none. And yet, you know, when it shows up, because we've had time and time again when the patient's totally asymptomatic, don't have any symptoms whatsoever, and bingo, that urinalysis will, something's going on.
So it's better to catch it before it gets severe, or it goes what people probably heard, septic.
Yeah.
Which when you go septic, that ain't good at all.
Not a good place to be.
No, it's not. So then it can be life-threatening.
I mean, and you said the urinalysis was $10?
Yeah.
If we just do a urine, if you just walk in and say, I want to do a urinalysis.
And it looks for bacteria, blood, protein, things like that, just to see, is what's coming out normal?
Okay. Is there any, you know, situation, whatever, where they might want to do this on a regular basis, like every 6 months?
I think once a year, everyone should have it done. I think if somebody is prone to them, you have them more than that. So it really just depends. And if someone has an infection, always do a post-urinalysis to make sure it's gone. Sometimes the symptoms might be better and it's really not completely gone, so it will come right back.
Definitely worth $10.
Exactly.
Worth $10. That's right. That's right.
Definitely worth $10. Okay. How often should you have your urine checked?
Well, like I said, once a year if you have no problems. I think every 3 to 6 months.
If somebody's prone to it, I think 3. Because $10 every 3 months, come on. I mean, that's nothing, you know, and that way you get to see, and you might find that if you spend $10 every 3 months and you catch something before it happens, aha, good prevention.
Right.
See?
So again, we're all about prevention and trying to prevent problems before they happen. That is no doubt the best thing for kidneys, because kidneys are hard once they're severely affected to actually reverse.
Yeah.
You know, so
that was going to be another.
It's hard.
Come back for our next at our next block here. My next question was going to be, can it be reversed? We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
Matter of fact, we'll come back too and have this week's special. Stick around. And welcome back. It's our final segment of this morning's show, and let's go ahead and show you this week's special.
Now this week we're going to talk about we talked about the benfodiamine before, which is an activated form of vitamin B1 or thiamine, and the research on it is really, really interesting because it goes way back, like you said, 15 years or more, where they found this stuff to be extremely good. One of the big benefits for it, it does help the kidneys. It also helps with something, even for diabetics, something called an AGE, or an advanced glycation end product. And those AGEs make us AGE faster. So they're really important to get away. And benfodiamine has got a lot of research on how it helps with that.
Yeah, it even has research really on other diabetic problems too, like eyes, brain, heart. It helps the lining of the arteries to heal better. So I mean, it helps diabetic neuropathies.
Right.
I mean, when you start looking, pretty much every diabetic all should take it. I mean, they're really, if you're a diabetic, you should be taking a higher dose of benfotamine, because it takes more than just what's in a multi. Most of the research is done from anywhere from 3 to 900, which is a lot. We usually use the 300. So milligrams a day. So you don't, it's not just a tiny dose. So it's not what's in a B complex, it's not what's in a multi, it's actually using high doses of it to actually help prevent these problems.
And you never really see benfodiamine in a multi, really.
Some you do.
It's rare.
And you do see it in some of a lot of the neuropathy products.
Right, now they don't have
it. We have a product called Neuro Renew, which is specifically for neuropathies, and it actually does have benfotamine in it as well, but what's on sale is our plain benfotamine. So that's what's on sale this week, and anyone who's a diabetic should take it, and anyone actually, it's beneficial as you age. So,
all right, another question. When is the best time to get a urine test done? Morning, afternoon, night, or does it really matter? And I'll add to that, do you have to fast?
No.
You don't have to fast. Technically, the best time is your first morning urine. It's the most concentrated. But, of course, most people can't hold it.
They're not open at night.
I was going to say, they actually can't hold it till they get there. So we usually, I mean, other than that, I mean, second morning urine. It would be the, you know, if you go right when you get up and then you come in the morning and then do a urinalysis, that would probably be the best time. But anytime, if infection's bad enough or the blood's bad enough or anything's bad enough, it's going to show up pretty much any time.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people that just don't drink enough water. So theirs is pretty concentrated about any time you check it, and so virtually any time of the day, you'll at least get a fairly decent idea of what's going on there really well.
Okay. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. This is our final segment of this morning's show, so we have about 6 minutes left. So if you have a question, pick up the phone and give us a call. So we're talking about your kidneys and how important they are to you, which is evidently very.
They are very. And like I said, just to kind of talk over what we had already said. Definitely keep blood pressure under control, keep sugar under control, drink lots of water. If you are diabetic or aging, maybe do benfotamine just to kind of keep it, for a preventative, even if you don't have a problem yet. And like I said, stay away from the sugar, stay away from the junk. Anytime you can, get rid of packaged processed foods, it's better on all your organs, not just your kidneys.
I think, and when we just a thing about sugar, when you look at packaged processed foods, there's over 60 different names they use for sugar. I was telling a fellow that the other day, and he couldn't believe it. He said, "Do what?" Because he read a label, and if it didn't say sugar, he thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I said, no, they got 60 different names. And this is right from the FDA. They allow 60 different names to classify for sugar.
I think one good one that they used it was almost like a camouflage for
Yeah.
high fructose corn syrup.
Oh yeah, that
Well,
one-
now they
now
just
that-
call it corn syrup.
Yeah.
I know.
You can also just call it corn syrup. Doesn't tell you whether it's high fructose
But corn
or low,
syrup,
right?
but people always say corn, and I'm like, I mean, corn syrup is straight sugar. I mean, think
about
it.
Karo syrup.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it says corn syrup, you're getting just straight sugar.
Are there any foods that are good for the kidneys?
Well, of course, cranberries has always kind of been known for it.
Right.
And a lot of your just fruits and vegetables. And one
Right.
thing that we haven't mentioned, and we should, overdoing protein
Yes.
is terrible for the kidneys.
Right.
And I mean, we like a lower carb diet, which is tend to be a little higher in protein. But if somebody has a kidney problem, you can't do that much protein because that's one of the things, the BUN is the blood urea nitrogen, which is the breakdown of protein. So the more protein you have, the harder it is on your kidneys. So we definitely say don't do giant amounts of protein.
No, and one of the problems we get into, and we see this all the time, is the patient comes in and they've got kidney problems, but they're also diabetic. Okay, the diet
It's hard.
and that's tough because normally if you're just diabetic, okay, well, like she said, we can increase your protein a little bit, get you some good fats, and and you kind of offset that carbohydrate load. Well, with when you got a kidney problem and diabetes, now you got yourself a problem because you can't go real high on that protein at all. So they've got a real, it's a challenge. It really is.
It is. So you want adequate protein, but some of these people coming in when they're doing 200 and 300 grams a day of protein, that is way too much for anybody.
That would be anybody's kidneys.
Exactly. So
They have to process
just
it.
overworks the kidneys.
Yeah.
So we do say there's foods that you really shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And like I said, just more of a real food diet. But your proteins, you do have to be where, and like I said, I think people eat too much as a whole anyway. And so you don't want you want adequate protein, but you don't need
Huge amounts.
giant amounts.
Well, it's like, a lot of times at lunch I'll have a salad
Yeah.
with some grilled chicken.
Right.
That's
and
my
that-
protein.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
And
That's
that's
good.
good. And you're getting all the veggies with it too from the salad. And so that's good. But we do tell people that if they already have a kidney problem, you do need to restrict the protein some.
And some proteins are a little easier
Yeah.
on the kidneys. So like for
Fish.
instance, fish.
Yeah.
Right.
White flaky fish.
Right.
Those are good. Easier to process. Let's put it that way. That protein's a lot easier to process in the body. You start to get into the red meats and so on. They're just heavier proteins. A lot more processing has to be done. Harder on the kidneys. Yeah. So you just the types of protein, the amounts of protein, all of it fits in there.
And of course, you can find all kinds of great information on the internet.
Yes.
Or also, you can go to doctorsnutrition.com
Right.
and find some information there, or on their Facebook page. We had, you talked about earlier about detoxing.
Yeah.
We had a great segment, if you missed it, last week on
Yeah.
spring cleaning your body.
Right.
And
Doing some
actually, the
detoxing.
kidneys are part of detoxification as well. We talked a lot about liver, but
did.
kidneys are part of it. So
Right.
again, water is one of your best detoxifications.
Especially this time of the year when it's starting to get a little bit warm out there.
Yep.
Next week, we're going to talk about anything you want
Anything.
to.
Open
anything
line.
you want to. It's
Yep.
Open Line Monday, first part of April, first Monday in April.
Already.
So Pete, already?
It was just Christmas.
Christmas.
know.
Christmas shopping will start soon. Yeah.
No. But anyway, join us again next Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Get your questions ready regarding health, and we'll be back next Monday morning at 9 o'clock here on WLOX CBS for another live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Have a great week.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.